And of course, you've heard, what Joe Manchin has to say about the president's comments on coal, that he can't believe him. Is that a problem?
Well, I couldn't hear what the person was saying when he was referring to what drilling was stopped. Was it about something specific? I know if you look at the drilling data, oil production for 2022 looks like it's going to be the second highest ever of all times in the United States. So the argument that there is no drilling going on is kind of disproven.
Well, to be fair,
data.
Austen, I mean, that was from the second year of the Trump administration. That's the record, of course, and then we went into COVID, and there's all sorts of reasons for what happened afterwards. But I guess the reason why I'm mentioning all of this is this notion that the president might be sending signals, but when it comes to the economy itself, he is not really responding in a way that could be helpful to the party. Hence, they kind of buried the guy. He's nowhere to be seen. Your old boss, Barack Obama, is everywhere, but not the president. What do you make of that?
Yeah, that's kind of a longer tradition. The first midterm always goes badly for the president.
No doubt. But I remember your boss was all over the country in his midterms. Most presidents are.
I don't. That's not how I remember it. I was there. I remember President Obama being willing to go out to battleground states, and as I used to joke, all the battleground areas they call. You know what? He doesn't need to come here. In fact, don't mention my name. Don't say that he knows me.
Are you surprised then?
When you come to the midterm.
Let me answer. And I know you're an economic advisor, and of course, he was dealing with the controversy in his first midterm, that is Barack Obama, and losing 40 seats because of the health care act that they were finalizing, and that was deemed controversial. There were other issues, to be fair. But that this president can't seem to get a handle on that palpable rage, and it's going to come back to bite him, which begs the question, do you think if he were to have a rough day tomorrow, Democrats lose the House, potentially the Senate, he would pivot, he would change, he would even acknowledge, as your old boss did, that he got a shellacking?
I think he would acknowledge that he got a shellacking if he gets one. And I should say, I anticipate, like I said, for Trump, for Clinton, for Obama, for a lot of presidents, the first midterm is a rough go.
You're right.
And I actually think it's probably going to be a rough go tomorrow. I think President Biden would acknowledge that. My view of presidential terms is most of the legislation you're going to pass, you pass in the first 1 to 1.5 years. And the Biden folks have a record that they can show of what they did. I think the idea of the pivot kind of dating from Clinton, that we're going to try to rejuice the legislative apparatus and pass some bills in a bipartisan way, I don't know. What do you think? It feels to me like our political environment is sufficiently divided that if there is a shellacking or even a modest victory by Republicans and they take the House and Senate, I don't see, no matter what Joe Biden says as president, I don't see the Republicans going along and saying, oh, yes, let's do this together.
Or vice versa, especially when the president tipped his hand how he felt about energy or traditional fossil fuels, or for that matter, coal. So sort of the doubts are removed. I just found it odd, Austen, that the White House came to clarify those remarks as if they'd been taken out of context. What we showed and played for you was exactly what he said. So do you think that the president actually did harm here, signaling to the American people that even though we have plenty of and abundant energy here, that he's not the guy who's going to tap it, like it, or favor it, and that's why the oil industry is saying the hell with it?
I don't know. Like I say, I couldn't hear. Maybe you could hear what specifically the protester was asking about when he said the thing about the no drilling. The fact that oil production is the second highest year of all times suggests that the argument that we're cutting the amount of drilling in the country is not really backed up in the data.
Well, but at sheer volume, it's like population, right? Also, like population, it goes up every year given the population, and COVID was a great disruptor, right?
No, it doesn't. It's not. It's not like population.
Those 2 years of COVID.
No. It's not like population at all.
But those 2 years with COVID, when everything stopped, bouncing back from that is not a Herculean accomplishment, right?
Well, bouncing back from that is not, but to go to the level of production that exceeds all levels other than 1 year in the Trump administration, it is not like population. Oil does not give birth to other oil. on its own. It has to be pumped from the ground. I think to say anything about oil that sounds like restriction, though, when the price of gas is high and when inflation is as high as it's been in the United States and in other countries, is definitely going to be unpopular. That's why I think
you might want to open it up in committee even more, right? You might want to open up committee even more in this environment. Try all in on everything.
You
right?
might want to open up more, and for sure the perception is going to be that this is kind of sticking your foot in it.
Got it. We'll watch very closely. Austin, it's always a pleasure to have Austen Goolsbee, the former economic advisor.
Great to see you again, Neil.
To the President of the United States, Barack Obama, who's been busy on that campaign trail.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure